Welcome to my channel. Time for Bitcoin. I'm going to give you a rundown on the whole FTX crypto exchange financial drama, as well as cover the rather insidious and bigger story about FTX that mainstream media won't touch.
Hi, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
Early in November, CoinDesk ran a report on FTX, which is headquartered in the Bahamas, and showed that basically the company FTX had minimal liquidity because its founder had invested its customers' money in a bunch of unknown assets. A crypto exchange took customers' money and invested it in unknown assets, and when customers went to pull their money out of the exchange, there was no money. Crypto exchange FTX and its founder Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF, imploded this week. To put it in perspective, FTX and its competitor Binance are the two largest exchanges in the world. Just like with Binance, with FTX the customer can put in dollars or tokens, and you can trade these tokens. The way these exchanges make money is by charging a transaction fee when you exchange money for crypto, and other way around. The token that FTX was using was called FTT. It was a utility token that provides access to the FTX trading platform's features and services. Sam implemented a backdoor in the FTX bookkeeping which let him alter his company's financial records without alerting their external auditors. That means when he transferred $10 billion of customer money to a sister company, Alameda Research, which he also founded, it went undetected. Most of Alameda's assets were tied up in FTT token, so neither of Sam's companies had any liquidity, they only had fake money. Turns out the CEO of Binance decided to liquidate roughly $530 million worth of FTT around this time, which signaled FTX's customers to pull out money too. And when they all did this at once, FTX saw an estimated $6 billion in withdrawals over the course of 72 hours. Which of course it couldn't fulfill because I just told you they didn't have any actual money, and this is a very simplified version of events, but I believe I gave you the main highlight. Let's move on to the bigger story. Hang on because it's going to be interesting. Back in 2019, Biden announced his presidential campaign, and just 2 weeks later, Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduate, member of Silicon Valley Sam Bankman-Fried founded FTX company. Sam is actually the son of Barbara Fried, who's a Stanford professor who happens to be the co-founder of Mind the Gap, a democratic political fundraising organization based in Silicon Valley. Sam's brother Gabe is founder of Guarding Against Pandemics, an organization that advocates for public investments to prevent the next pandemic. And Gabe was a legislative correspondent for the U.S. House of Representatives and an advisor to large political donors in the Democratic Party. But that's not all. Aunt Linda Fried is an epidemiologist and dean at Columbia. She specializes in aging, and her husband is an expert in HIV/AIDS. They both have strong links to the World Economic Forum. You can read about them on the World Economic Forum website. Sam launched the FTX exchange 2 weeks after Biden announced his run for presidency, and somehow in his late 20s Sam became one of Biden's biggest donors. He reportedly has become the second largest donor to the Democrats right after George Soros. FTX was an overnight success and made Sam very rich. At his peak he was reportedly worth $26 billion, and he even gotten celebrities like Tom Brady and Gisele to promote his crypto exchange. Investment firm Sequoia Camp Capital invested $213 million in Sam's company, only for Sam to turn around and invest $500 million in Sequoia Capital. Not only that, but FTX purchased 30% of Anthony Scaramucci's Skybridge Capital. Once Biden was in office, he appointed Gary Gensler as the SEC chair. The daughter of Gary Gensler's boss at MIT, Caroline Ellison, is now the president of FTX's sister company. That's quite a web that's being woven. When the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, is supposed to be protecting investors, in theory they're supposed to be fair and not corrupt. Impartial. FTX's head of ventures is Amy Wu, who used to work for the Clinton Foundation. FTX's policy and regulation head Mark Wetjen served as Obama's Commodity Future Trading Commissioner, and there were reports that FTX wanted to spend over $1 billion on the Democrat Party for 2024. According to another report by CoinDesk, the Ukrainian government launched a crypto donations partnership with FTX in March of 2022. FTX was converting donations into fiat for a deposit at the National Bank of Ukraine. Aid for Ukraine was the official initiative that raised funds from the crypto community for the benefit of Ukraine's military and humanitarian needs. Quote, the Aid for Ukraine effort utilized FTX services to convert crypto funds received into fiat money and send the donations to the National Bank of Ukraine, ultimately becoming the 5th largest charitable foundation assisting in the country's war effort. The foreign aid that the US government sent Ukraine was then put into FTX. So FTX made a ton of money on transactions from the US government sending our tax dollars to Ukraine. In Ukraine partnering with FTX, which Sam Bankman-Fried then turned around and donated to the Democratic Party. For the midterms alone, Sam gave Democrats $40 million from his now bankrupt crypto exchange, and it's pretty suspicious that the downfall of FTX happened right after midterms. To summarize and make sure we have this right, you the taxpayer, you give your hard-earned money to the American government. The American government turns around and gives it to Ukraine. And Ukraine runs your donations through FTX, and then the FTX founder takes your money and gives it to the Democrats. Let me know in the comments if you think Democrats will give back this tainted money after this whole scandal. I think the Sam Bankman character was kind of a Trojan horse in the crypto world. Now his bankrupt company sets up the perfect example for people to demand federal control of cryptocurrency and trading. It fuels them to demand government regulation. However, I believe that all this was supposed to go on and allow them to launder even more money to later spent on lobbying politicians and influence the cryptocurrency market from the inside. Let me know in the comments what do you think about it and how deep is the corruption of politicians and Wall Street here. Thank you for staying until the end. Please like and subscribe if you appreciate my work.
To be honest, I've never heard of him. But then a ton of people were telling me he's got, huge amounts of money that he wants to invest in a Twitter deal. And I talked to him for about half an hour, and I know my meter was redlining, so I was like, this dude is full of. That was my impression. And so then I was like, but everyone, including major investment banks and everyone were talking about him like he's walking on water and has $1 zillion. And I'm like, that's not my impression. And my prediction to the investment banks, which some of it is you've seen on text because it was in a court case, was that that dude is there's something wrong, and he does not have capital, and he will not come through. That was my prediction, and that is definitely what happened. I'm not the expert on crypto, but I think there probably is a future for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge. I can't really speak to the others, but if you've got one of those three in a cold wallet, not in an exchange, I don't know, my guess is it works out well. Maybe some of the others too, but I don't know about the others.